in our way, when elders come to our homes, to our groups, they come as, as visitors for the day with us. One thing that's extremely important, because we are an oral society, we don't have a written language, except you go to write it on stone. You'll see some of the pictographs and others that tell a story. And one item symbolically means a whole lot of things. So that's why you go to the etching and the drawings over there, maybe just a few figures on the stone tells you a whole lot of things. If you know the author of that, But anyways, it's important that I start to teach now some of the importances of some certain aspects that we have to adhere to as kind of a house rule. Like in this instance, well, number one, I would say istzig, istzig. Make that a point, I need to be very assertive about that. As an elder, passing on knowledge to a younger person. And that word means you listen, Listen to me, Because the messages or the teachings, you have to internalize them. They have to become part of your perception. And that's why it's always important that, and you see that in classrooms or other groupings, a lot of times our young children, they just, mess around and all that. But then you bring an elder in there, then they all sit still. They know that, they have that sense of respect. They'll just sit down and they'll, Now, I guess I was like that when I was young. When an older person talks, I'm taught to sit and listen. Sit down and listen. And a lot of times you're going to only hear it once. You don't keep repeating. If you have to keep repeating, then they'll say, "Oh, what's up?" There's something wrong with this kid. Or the kid is crazy. This young person is crazy. He's not ready to listen yet. And you don't want to be consider yourself to be that. There's a lot of things that are involved in communicating with elders, communicating with the younger people. So I think it's important, these values, that we have to be very conscious of almost every moment of your life. What it is am I doing now? So if you stop to think, And I always give great credit and respect to Salvation Army, those people that stand at Walmart or Costco, or they got that little bell. I used to think that was quite funny when I was young. But the elders, they talk about giving time and energy to somebody else is one of the greatest gifts love, compassion you can give to another human being. Just to go visit to a hospital and visit the older people or the sick people. And the first thing you go visit somebody in a hospital, what's the first thing they're going to talk about? They've already will make an assessment. This is a good place, this is not a very good place. Is the treatment that they get, it's not necessarily the medication, but that relationship with the staff, you know. And that is the initial stage of healing, you know, that kind of perception you have from others that are supposed to care for you or are supposed to feed you something. And you'll make that conclusion, and our elders instruct us that is the most essential part of my work, is considering myself as a healer to others, you know, and it's really important to be aware of what you're doing, all the time. How your conduct or your actions, how it impacts on others, you know. If you are a very destructive person, that negative impact is going to go a long ways. And one of the terms we used, things, what kind of energies that you project out there, it'll always come back to you eventually through another form as a negative, or it may come back to you as a negative. You know. So we have to be, and we're taught to be very careful of what we say. Words are powerful. And some of us that go into the society say, words carry much more power because we're hooked up with, greater powers. So you have to be very careful as to what you say. But in today's environment, you look at the newspaper, all of us, I'm sure, read that. And always the bad things make the headlines. And somebody killed somebody. Somebody got caught doing this bad thing. You hardly hear of somebody doing good deeds, good role models. Now, why is it like that? Why do we? We're very keen in hearing negative things about others. And that's not compassion. Some elders, I was surprised as a younger person when I was told the person that gets aggressive, especially on you, that wishes to hurt you, you need to walk away and pray for that person rather than retaliate. You pray for that person. Eventually that person will understand, will figure things out, and they'll go through a remorse, and then they'll get back to you, telling you that I'm sorry that I approached you in that way. And that's the way to help these kind of people, You retaliate, and then they'll retaliate, and you retaliate. Like in our way in the past, if one party or one person does some harm to another, then that person is expected, as a rule, is expected to retaliate. And it just goes back and forth. Soon the family is totally involved. Soon the clans are involved, eh? But we have in our own justice system, we deal with that. Our spiritual leaders will deal with it. And that's peacemaking, a peacemaking process, where you allow the victim in the presence of the perpetrator or the offender and elders representing community or community members, each getting a chance to express what harm it has inflicted on them, what hardships they went through, in front of the offender. Then the offender will get a chance to speak about their upbringing in a dysfunctional family violence and all that, bad company, and that's how they came out to be as the product of that environment. And then, of course, the elders, our group of community members, our elders, speak for the community. What is acceptable as the norms of the community? They speak to that. And the most important thing that I had alluded earlier, what is the ideal environment that we want in our community? I have to have harmony, well-being, because our children will be the product of that environment. And that is in our way. I'm always thankful that we have that aspect of collective or collectiveness, communal ownership. So we all, the children and the reserve belong to all of us. Therefore, we all have a hand in raising our children. So, and then that's what, once the parties understand, and you settle things peacefully, it gives the two parties a new start. Yesterday don't exist anymore. Today is a new day. We've made peace, with each other. Then they move on that way. And that will secure that ideal environment, community environment for us. Now, like in the city of Lethbridge, you have a whole stack of rules that we all follow. You got a certain speed through the school zone. You have stop signs, different signs for everything, and certain acceptable norms that noise pollution, smoke pollution, and all kinds of different pollutions. That those are laws. And if you breach or break those laws, you will be punished. You will be charged. And that maybe it works for us. It saves lives. But then, like the court systems, our people, they go to court, they plead guilty to get it over with. They go to jail. They come out. Nothing has happened to help them develop into something else. It's just a revolving door. The courts, you go out, in and out of court. And for some reason, it just don't help some of us. And it would be the same in town. I used to work at the Lethbridge Provincial Gaol as a guard for a few years. And I see the same people in and out from our community, from, off the reserve communities, and just don't work for them. Maybe when they get older, I don't know. But there's always room for improvement, I guess, in any system, But like I said earlier, we need to be conscious of the present day. Sometimes we just go about our ways automatically, But I think if we pay more attention to our relationship with each other, how we impact on each other, how destructive our actions might be on others. Is this that kind of a chain reaction? Or if you do good for somebody, that's healing. You help healing people. So that's basically how we come together and we start to assess the given environment that we are in. What those things that we had prior to the visitors, we live in that way for thousands and thousands of years from time immemorial. And we try to look at what has worked for us before then. If things don't work for us now, then we try to reincorporate those. Such as in the school system, try to incorporate some of these things we just went through in infusion of culture into the curriculum. We try to help in that way to tailor these things, services, more to the needs of our people. And it has worked. We had one experience with Needs to Be a Teacher at program that we did with the university here. And it worked, So that's basically how important values are to us. And in this world, it's about relationship. We all have relationship with each other, with a group, or sometimes it's a tight family, just within a core family. But some of us still an extended family, and I don't know about the clans, but you have societies in town, that are there for the betterment of the people of our community. So they also carry certain things that they try to live by or try to incorporate into their lives to the good of the and betterment of the greater society. One thing that I've been involved a few years before, and that's politics. Politics can be a dirty game sometimes. It can be very manipulative. It could be very deceiving, So I got out of it maybe just in time. But it's not in comparison to what I do today, it's totally different. And like Roy said earlier, we just keep going on and on. I've been asked many times, well, when are you going to retire? I cannot retire because I've become a parent all over again because I take care of my grandchildren. I have no time. And then other younger people, I get approached almost every day. Sometimes I'm double booked for the day. that kind of demand out there for me that I have to be there. There's people that are in need. So I never had the chance to think about retiring to Florida. I like to golf sometimes, or Vegas. I like to gamble sometimes. I love the coast, the West Coast, Seattle, Vancouver. I wish I could retire there, but I just don't have time, I can't, And at times like now, and when I visit others, it gives me that fulfillment, And that's the reward that for me in life is to serve mankind, And some of us that have chosen not to go in this direction, and they kind of failed to continue to be part of the spiritual aspect of our ways, have become sort of obsolete. They just exist. And like an older elder told me, one of my teachers, it's hard to retire because you have nothing to do but sit around and you wait to die. And I thought about it and I told myself, Iman, that's the truth, Because then you don't serve a purpose anymore. Your life is meaningless, And I think you need that, that kind of a feed is spiritually, We had in one of our sun dances way back, a lady had a dream. The spirits are wanting to be fed. We went to our elders, our teachers, and we asked them, what does that mean? And he told us it's smudging and offerings. Basically, that's what they sustain themselves in. And that's what we learned from that day. And I'm glad that this tobacco is offered. Then I'll continue to give it to somebody else because I don't smoke. I smoke the pipe, but I offer it to others that will enjoy, in that, or I put it as an offering, So we pretty well smudge every day, and because of we understand it, a deeper understanding of the spiritual aspect of life. And obviously, we will live for so many years, maybe 80 years. I like to think 100 years, because I'm 73 now. I like to get another 30 years. That we will eventually all go to the other side. Surely we'd like to know and have some idea what is waiting for us on the other side. We can't simply just drop and that's it. Our spirits do not die. They live on. So what will be for us on the other side has a lot to do as to what we're doing on this side. And in our way, we try to establish a legacy, A good example in life, establish your legacy. And that's one way is to live by the values, to be generous to others, to be compassionate, to be honest, to be a resourceful person for others, in respect to education, what you learn, gifts of knowledge. You're establishing that legacy that you will be remembered by when you go on to the other side. I don't know if we could take our money with us, Might take your credit card, but that's the teachings that are given to us. A lot of that is fed into us, so we try to make sense of these things. And the simple question, I go back, who put Saskatoon bears on a berry tree? Well, you got to think about it. Could it be the spirit in the seed, Mother Earth, the power of the sun, the power of the water, combined? Gets you to think about these things. And now, what about us? How did we get to be here? It's got to be something something very special that allowed us to become a being and be alive. In our teepees, we have those two designs up there, the flaps, and one of them is the 7 stars. It's a dipper. Around this time of the year, it starts to tip over, and the spirit starts to pour out of that. And this month or around this time is the season or part of the renewal of life, new life. And we transcend to Mother Earth, and you'll see it on a TP, the life form. Us, we became humans. There's trees out there, became trees. There's water beings, there's sky beings, and the 4-leggeds, and everything else coming out of Mother Earth. And that's one of the teachings of our ways, And we're here to do something, to pick up something, then we start traveling from an infant to an adolescent, a youth, adult, an elder, then we go back to our origin. Some of us might stop on the way to go to hell for a while, but I don't know. That fear aspect is not present in our ways. We don't use fear, punishment. So what you are now is what you're going to be then, when you go on the other side. So it makes us think, what am I doing to have the ideal type of spiritual existence on the other side? It kind of forces you to think about it, to be more conscious. Therefore, whatever conduct or how you conduct yourself and your actions, then you always try to reflect as to what we're talking about. The values in life become more and more and more important to us as we get older, And again, knowledge, one of the greatest problems that we have is our younger people, our school-age children, is the problem of retention. We're trying to figure out, why do our children not appreciate, as we did before, knowledge? And we're trying to incorporate the whole concept of learning into the system. We're working on it. I think we're somewhere close to being half the way, but we'll figure it out. Basically, some of our children just don't value the gift of knowledge, and we consider knowledge as a gift. And then, of course, we do that. We make this motion that we say, An elder speaks to us, then we say, Or we pray, then we go this way. And that's symbolic of you appreciating that special gift that somebody has given you. And also what is attached to that is an obligation that you also would pass it on to somebody else, some younger person. You pass on that gift. If you value it, if you don't value it, then you throw it on the wayside. But in our way, we have to try and bring that back to our children. That sometimes things that they go through in class, they cannot relate to them. But we're trying to say somewhere down the line in your life, you will have a need for that kind of knowledge. Today is a very high-tech world, and I'm always scared that computers would become smarter than us, and we'd be slave to them, But that anything is possible. And we want to keep up with technology and all that. Maybe we can create a heaven. Who knows? And we'll be happy forever. But anyways, that's what I would like to share with you today. Of course, we're always available through Roy. Anytime that you feel that you might have some need for us, we also do the name given. We can give you a Blackfoot name, or we already have thought about a name that may be of the characters of an animal or the stars or whatever that you want, and then we can make that become an official through a ceremony we do that day. That gives a meaning to. I gave last summer at the Sundance, I gave a young non-native girl. She went through here a double major, archaeology and I think geology. But she wanted a name that in her work, she does a lot of field work, she wanted a name that would reflect or relate to. So I thought about it and I gave her the name of Yitspik, shines amongst the rest. And I told her, whenever you are having a rough time in life, you go out at night and you stand out there and you look at the heavens, and the brightest star up there is you, So she uses that now. It speaks and shines amongst the rest. So that's the kind of Blackfoot names that we give. Something that the person can use in times of need. They can resort to their names. And we do the face paint, and it's a healing, ceremony. People that may have bad dreams or bad experience, have gone through a rough time, then we do that for protection. So all the things that we do is to help an individual for those things that perhaps some of us don't understand, but we are affected by. And of course, dreams. I think everybody in here knows when a dream is not just a dream, but it has a message or something behind the meaning of that dream. So sometimes we need to consult with others that are gifted with translating the meaning of their dreams. So we offered that. But I guess bottom line, I like to look at him as a total person, not the money in his pocket, but to look at you as a whole person. And each one of us, we like to be viewed as such. There's inner beauty and there's outer beauty. We all like to look handsome and pretty, but it's inside there that we should always like to be beautiful people, because we're all humans, breathe the same air, enjoy the same light from the sun. We all nourish ourselves from Mother Earth, and we all enjoy technology. Nobody can isolate themselves anymore. So that's the message that I wanted to bring across to you. I understand this. These are educators. Is it? Oh, good. Yeah. Well, you keep those in mind when sometimes you're going to be teaching our children. So with that, thank you. Any questions, you'll answer.